Well, can we just talk before about the number of vaccinations? Let's talk about the mechanics behind this. What are the timelines to hit these targets? Congratulations.
Good morning. And thank you very much. Thank you. It's been quite a few months of discussions, negotiations, and we're very happy with the announcement. What it entails is, once we got to understand the mechanics of how the actual vaccine gets to be produced, what Biovac will be doing is that we need to do some facility modification in our current facilities in order to accommodate this particular vaccine. That's going to happen mostly this side of the year, and that will allow a technology transfer to actually commence the beginning of 2022. What that would mean is that we would receive the actual vaccine. It would be run through our facility. It would, our people will get confident and, do various test checks and balances, and then present that to the regulator before we actually go for the market. So the technology transfer is quite nuanced and very specific. Whilst all vaccine may look similar, but they're actually not the same. And so that is essentially what the technology transfer means. In terms of numbers, as you say, we are, firstly, the market, I think, is a very important, aspect in that, this is destined not only for South Africa, but also for export into the continent, which we know, is even in a worse shape than the likes of South Africa.
Yeah.
So in a nutshell, that is what the deal entails. So we're very excited about it.
And when will we first see some vaccines leaving the facility? What is the timeline for when we can start sending cameras and watching these vaccines being sent around South Africa and around Africa? What's the timeline look like?
Yes, so, with what I've just described, it's going to be a 12-month process between now and when we submit to the regulator. So, take it from about a year from now, we will be able to start the manufacture. Obviously, starting with some small volumes, just so that we make sure that we're very careful. I mean, vaccine manufacture is a very delicate process. So we're thinking that by Q3 next year, so exactly this time next year, we are hoping to be able to commence manufacture and, slowly ramp up, for the second half of 2022. But in 2023, that's where we're hoping to really now go full blast. That's where we really need to be pumping quite a lot of doses.
When it comes to the distribution of these vaccines, once you get underway in about a year or so from now, when we compare how Africa has been left behind with regards to those countries in the Northern Hemisphere and those countries that can afford it, how does the decision-making get done with regards to how many vaccines in South Africa versus SADC versus the other African countries that need to be looked after as well? What does that pecking order, I suppose, look like? Who decides that?
Yes, very good question. I mean, I must also, also remind that, part of what Biovac is doing at the moment is that we've also been contracted by the Department of Health in handling and distributing the Pfizer vaccine locally. So we handle both Pfizer and J&J in terms of distribution. And these are minus 70 degree handling, and which is, which requires specialized type of distribution. So with that, what will happen on the continent, and this is something that Pfizer is going to be leading, is that there will be some countries that will say, I have enough vaccine for my population. No, so, they don't need vaccine. So we're anticipating that scenario. There'll probably be few of those, but, there'll be those scenarios. So it's not like, we're likely to be selling to all markets. The second criteria is that others would say, I don't have minus 70 degree handling. And please, I only want other vaccines that are not minus 70. But then we have to also factor in, what is likely to happen in the next year in terms of boosters. There will be, even though other countries may have already vaccinated, there may be a need and is likely to need boosters. And particularly with this type of vaccine, the mRNA, it's shown to be quite a good booster vaccine. And so you find that there will be countries that will say that, look, can I have this particular one because I want a booster? And then there will be those that just want to catch up in terms of their population. So it's going to be a combination of that will determine which country actually gets more or less. So it will have to be a discussion. So it's not like, we can paint all countries with the same brush.
Just perhaps in the last 30 seconds, Doctor, that I have with you, if we can move away from the vaccine distribution for the moment and when it's going to come online, I can't help but feel a little bit sad, as excited as we all are about the new vaccine rollout from your organization. When you talk about the rollout a year from now and possibly 2023, we're going to go, I think you called it full tank on this. It worries me that we're still going to be dealing with COVID-19 by then. Last 30 seconds, I mean, are we going to see, in your opinion, the end of this anytime soon?
Yeah, unfortunately, I have sad news in that the virus is not going to go away. If anything, we may even get more variants. So the virus will still be there, which essentially means that whatever effort that we are doing now is long-lasting. The virus is going to be with us just like flu is with us, and SARS-CoV-2 is going to be with us. And so all we need to do is to make sure that most people get vaccinated, but the virus will still be around. And what we need to get to a point is so that we are vaccinated enough so that when we come across a virus, that we don't get as sick or people don't get hospitalized. That's the best that we can do with the current data that we have now. But the virus, unfortunately, is not going away.
Well, at least you're doing what you can to try and vaccinate South Africa, SADC and the rest of Africa. And congratulations to you and the team at Biovac CEO Morena Makhoana. Going to be a very different story this time next year once they open up those doors and get those Pfizer jabs to the rest of the country en masse.